everyone. Good evening. The formal meeting of the Richmond City Council will now come to order. At this time, we'll have some important announcements provided by our security manager and by the city clerk, Mr. Winborn. If you would proceed, please.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Winborn. I'm here to bring you some rules that govern us while we're in council chambers.
Hola, buenas noches a todos. Mi nombre es el Dr. Winburn y estoy aquí para darles las órdenes de la conducta dentro de la sala del consejo.
First, while in council chambers, everyone must remain seated at all times.
Primero, mientras todos estemos en la cámara de consejo, todo el mundo debe mantenerse sentados.
Men's restroom is out the left rear entrance to council chambers, and the ladies is out the right rear entrance to council chambers.
El baño de hombre está saliendo por las puertas hacia la entrada trasera en la izquierda de la sala de consejo y también el baño de las mujeres saliendo por las puertas a la entrada derecha de la sala del consejo.
If you decide you want to leave for the evening, please, the escalators are out the left rear entrance of council chambers.
Si ustedes deciden salir o irse de esta noche de esta sesión, por favor diríjanse a la izquierda a irse a las escaleras mecánicas que están a la parte planta de abajo de la izquierda.
If you have a sign, please be mindful of the person who's sitting behind you.
Si tienen un cartel o un letrero, por favor sean respetuosos con las personas sentadas detrás de ustedes.
Each person who comes up to speak has a total of 3 minutes.
Y cada individuo que venga aquí arriba a hablar tiene totalmente 3 minutos.
Please return to your seat once you're done speaking.
Cuando terminen de hablar, por favor diríjanse de regreso a su asiento.
If you have any questions, you can find a security officer in the back of council chambers.
Si en algún momento tiene alguna pregunta, por favor diríjase al oficial de seguridad en la parte de trasera del consejo o la cámara.
If you cannot abide by the rules, a security officer will ask you to exit council chamber.
Si no pueden seguir las reglas del consejo o de la cámara, un oficial le va a pedir que por favor salga de las cámaras del consejo.
Thank you.
Muchísimas gracias.
And Spanish interpretation is available in the council chamber. Please see a representative at the rear of the room to receive the appropriate equipment. Spanish interpretation is also available through Microsoft Teams for virtual attendees in need of this service.
Disponemos de servicio de interpretación en español en la sala del consejo. Por favor, diríjase al representante en la parte trasera. También la interpretación en español está poniendo a disposición a través de Microsoft Teams para los participantes virtuales que necesiten dichos servicios.
Thank you. At this time, the invocation will be offered by Reverend Dr. James Henry Harris of Second Baptist Church, which will be followed by Second Baptist Church West End, which will be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. Gracious and eternal God, the God who has sustained us over the years, the God who continues to give us strength, the God of hope, the God of our salvation. We gather today giving thee thanks and praying that your eternal and holy presence might be upon this body, that each person might gain wisdom to accompany whatever knowledge they possess. And together, both wisdom and knowledge will enhance the decision-making process incumbent upon this body. We thank you for the beauty of this day. We thank you for the universe. We thank you for peace and love, and pray that by the power of the Holy Spirit, the work of this council might continue to bring about justice and hope and love and peace in this city, in this commonwealth, in this nation, and around the world. We ask all of these blessings in the name of the God who allowed us to be convoked here today. In his name, amen.
Thank you.
Pledge allegiance, flag of the United States of America, and to the republic, a nation, God, indivisible, liberty and justice.
Madam Clerk, if you would please provide the chamber emergency evacuation announcement followed by the public speaker guidelines.
Upon activation of the emergency alarm signal, all persons should immediately exit the building. Please use the exits to the left or right front of the council chamber or the east or west stairway outside the rear doors of the chamber. Do not use elevators or escalators. After exiting the building, proceed down 9th Street and enter the assembly area located in the former public safety building parking lot. Able persons should assist visually and hearing impaired visitors with exiting the building. Guidelines for for public comments. Members of the public wishing to speak during public hearings and/or the public comment period are generally allowed 3 minutes to speak. Persons appearing before council are not allowed to campaign for public office, promote private business ventures, use language of a personal nature which insults or demeans any person, including comments directed at public officials or staff members that are not related to their official duties, or address or question staff members directly. All questions are to be directed to the president of council. Failure to adhere to the guidelines may result in speakers forfeiting any remaining time, and further disciplinary action is necessary, which could include barring from attendance at future meetings of city council for a period of 6 months. Members of the public who registered in advance to speak virtually will be called at the appropriate time. Thank you, Madam President.
And Madam President, all members of council are in attendance this evening, and I do believe Ms. Lynch is in an adjoining room. If there are individuals standing in the rear of the chamber, they are asked to be seated where seats are available. Also, applause is only permitted during the awards and presentations portion of tonight's meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's move on to appointments, reappointments, specifically the Civilian Review Board appointment recommendations.
Members, you were provided the Civilian Review Board appointment recommendations that were made at your September 8th, 2025 informal meeting. Is there a motion to approve final appointment of the recommended applicants?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Council is now voting on the motion to approve the appointment recommendation as presented. Mr. Breton?
Aye.
Ms. Gibson?
Yes.
Ms. Jones?
Aye.
Ms. Robertson? Ms. Trammell?
Aye.
Ms. Abubakar? Vice President Jordan?
Aye.
And President Newbill?
Aye.
Those appointments have been approved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We'll move on to recognitions for this evening.
Thank you, Madam President. Tonight's first recognition being presented by the Honorable Nicole Jones, 9th District Council Representative, and the Honorable Mayor Danny Avula, recognizes and proclaims Richmond Latin and Hispanic American Heritage Month to further expand, support, and embrace the vibrant tapestry that exemplifies us as Richmond residents and the inclusion of all Americans with Hispanic and Latin American heritage. Richmond City Council and Mayor Danny Avula proclaim the 31-day period of September 15th through October 15th as Richmond Latin and Hispanic American Heritage Month in perpetuity, and call this observance to the attention of all our residents.
Hi, Ms. Jones. Father Shea. First, I want to invite members and representatives from the Hispanic Latino community today to receive this proclamation. We have several representatives from organizations like Waymakers Foundation, Feed More, Latinos in Virginia Empowerment Center, Ultra Radio Richmond, Radio Poder WBTK, Cocosal Salvadorian Association, and other community residents.
Thank you so much, Carla. And thank you to the Office of ORIE. Thank you to our Council of Delgado for helping us put this together and bring this community together as we celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month. On behalf of our mayor, I guess, saying hey back there, Mr. Donald, we are here tonight to present this proclamation as a celebration, right, of culture and ethnicity and oneness and uniqueness and artistry and all the things that we are as Richmond. And while we recognize the contributions of the Hispanic and Latino community, we want to say thank you. We want to say that we have much gratitude in our heart for all that you contribute to this amazing city and the tapestry that many don't even recognize, and how much is immersed in this city. So thank you so much for everything that you do. We, as the city of Richmond, we salute you today, and we are grateful for everything that you bring and contribute to this city.
I would like to introduce Father Shay Auerbach from the Sacred Heart Church. And he's going to receive this proclamation on behalf of our communities.
Good evening. Buenas tardes. I'm Father Shay Auerbach, representing Sacred Heart Church and Sacred Heart Center. I've had the honor of walking with this community for 18 years. On behalf of this amazing group of people here this evening, I thank Mayor Avula and City Council for recognizing in perpetuity every year 31 days here in Richmond as Richmond Latin and Hispanic American Heritage Month. I think that all of the organizations here will agree with me that the community we have the privilege to accompany enriches Richmond in ways we are only beginning to discover. When you recognize people and their contributions, they become more visible and their role in our communities amplified. This community with roots in Europe, in the pre-contact Americas, in Africa, calls Richmond home. This community forged in human dreams and human nightmares, proclaiming prophetically the good, the true, and the truly human, despite oppression and injustice, has become part of our family. Newer members, bringing blessings to be enjoyed by all. When you celebrate family members, you lift up their dignity, especially when it can be under threat. Isn't that what families do? Protect each other. Thank you, Mayor Avula and City Council members, for holding up this community. You help make them proud members of Richmond. You help the rest of us marvel at the richness of our human family, especially that we are so fortunate to call them neighbors. Thank you, Mayor Avula and City Council members. What Richmond does is important, not only for us Richmonders, but to give example to everyone else. It turns out in my denomination, today is the first day of National Migration Week. We are asked to consider migrants as messengers of hope. Many in the communities we honor today are immigrants. Many are born right here. Esta comunidad, rica en su diversidad, valiente en sus sueños y fuerte en su determinación, brinda a todos la esperanza de un mañana mejor. These communities we celebrate, rich in diversity, bold in dreams, indefatigably determined, lives hope, is hope for Richmond. Thank you, congratulations, gracias y felicidades.
I just want to say muchas gracias. And we are pleased to be able to share in the celebration with each of you, and certainly are appreciative, respect the diversity, the culture that you bring to our city. Thank you for all of your works, and we look forward to even more to come. And certainly, Sacred Heart has been a major partner and supporter in our city, and we thank you, Father Shea, for joining us this evening.
Nicole, I just too want to say thank you all, my colleagues and all, for honoring all of you today. This is a great honor. And Oscar, I want to say thank you for all that you do, everybody. And Father, say thank you for always being there for everybody. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you.
The next recognition being presented by the Honorable Council President Cynthia Newbill, 7th District Representative, recognizes and honors Caritas for its work in our community on substance use treatment and providing shelter for persons in need, and thanks the Caritas Board of Directors and staff and the numerous volunteers, partner organizations, and government entities supporting it for their dedication and assistance and in helping make Richmond an even better place.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. I just want to say thank you to Caritas, to its leadership, to the board members, to all of the staff for almost 4 decades of work in our community that has not gone unnoticed, that has been critical to the general well-being of our citizenry, both in term, well, not both, there are a couple of things, certainly as you started out with the winter servicing, but then as you moved on to really emergency shelter provision and having it be comprehensive in nature has been so critical to addressing the unhoused residents, unhoused persons throughout our city, and really then getting them on a path to self-sufficiency and self-sustainability and even longer term housing. And so we just want to say thank you for all of your efforts and look forward to even more of a partnership. I know we've asked, it's almost 40 years, but we probably gonna need another 40. So just hang in there with us. But really just want to say thank you for the extraordinary service to our community. Actually, that one has been.
Good evening, President Newbill and members of City Council. My name is Karen O'Brien. I'm the CEO and President of Caritas, and it is National Recovery Month, and we both work in the unsheltered population and very much with the recovery population. And on behalf of everyone from Caritas, I want to say thank you. For 20 years, we have been working and been the leader in Richmond's recovery community by providing low barrier, no cost, access to critical services for people struggling with addiction. We support and empower our clients to find pathways forward to a brighter future. The specific path may look different. It probably does look different for each person, but they all lead to a place of stability, self-sufficiency, and opportunity. So we are deeply appreciative of our continued partnership with the city and your support. So thank you very, very much. A great evening.
I would like to say thank you. I can remember 5 years ago when everybody was like, no, we don't want that in the 8th. We don't need and others step up and show the community what no issue, and you have all of your staff. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for what you've done.
Did you hear, Ms.?
Did y'all hear us?
Okay.
They said yes.
Okay.
They said, all right, thank you. I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you for not giving up, and thank you for doing the expansion, and my colleagues that gave you more money so that we could take in the ones that were homeless and get them off the street. They have to go by rules, as we all know. And I just want to say thank you, and I look forward to working with you even more in our 8th district. Thank you.
And Madam President, that concludes the award ceremony docket for this evening.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's proceed with the public comment period speakers now.
The first speaker is Thomas Courtney.
Welcome, Mr. Courtney.
Thank you. My name is Thomas Courtney, and I'm a resident of the 1st District. Good evening, members of council. I wanted to provide an update regarding significant land use concerns regarding the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts expansion and the troubling lack of communication with our surrounding community. First, I want to mention that the mayor of the city of Richmond is an ex officio member of the VMFA Board of Trustees. Dr. Avula is welcome to participate with their leadership at any time, and he should. It's interesting to me that the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts Foundation was founded in 1977, the same year as the arrival of Henry Marsh as mayor. With this transition, the private VMFA Foundation Board of Directors was established, since managing over $300 million endowment and investments separate from public records, FOIA disclosure, and involvement or inclusion of the mayor. VMFA entities previously opted to manufacture legal interpretations in order to proceed with warehouse construction on residential land. They chose this instead of repealing or amending the existing special use permit at the direct advice of the zoning administrator. The city attorney was also consulted without providing a written opinion on the matter, as is required by law. Of even more concern was that the private attorney for the VMFA Foundation also sits on the Code Refresh Committee, advising on significant land use matters and the proposed zoning amendments. The VMFA has been informed of active zoning violation via the commercial use of a multifamily residential property at 2823 Grove Avenue as a construction office. This property lacks appropriate permits or zoning approval for that. In parallel, the VMFA Foundation has quietly acquired all but 2 properties on the 28 to 2900 block of Grove Avenue, including operation of a bed and breakfast that serves no educational purpose for the museum. In March of 2025, the Board of Zoning Appeal members themselves provided clear feedback that the VMFA entities must do a better job of working with the neighborhood. We appeal to this council to echo that sentiment and request immediate proactive dialogue and a clear timeline for information sharing from the VMFA and its foundation. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Kashisha Pillay.
Welcome, Ms. Pillay.
Thank you. Good evening, Council. My name is Kashish Pillay, and I am an 8th District renter and the Housing Policy Analyst with New Virginia Majority. I'm here to speak in strong support of prioritizing anti-rent gouging in the legislative agenda for 2026. Richmond has a legacy of housing segregation, the capital of the state, the capital of the Confederacy, the home of redlining, and the city with the second highest eviction filing rate in the country. Against this backdrop, City Council has a duty to approach today's housing crisis with a multi-pronged approach: anti-rent gouging, the rental inspection program, and a resident-informed redevelopment plan. There is a problem with the build-only thinking. To reduce the housing crisis to a simple case of supply is short-sighted. Even if we build more units, renters will still need protections from predatory business practices. To call this only a shortage is to excuse the greedy, exploitative tactics of corporate landlords and private equity firms who profit off of the human need for housing. In fact, private equity now owns about 20% of Richmond area apartments, one of the highest shares in the country. Housing is not a commodity to be hoarded and then bartered on the open market. It is a human right, and it should be protected as so. When landlords resist transparency, affordability, or basic code standards, such as a rental inspection program, they expose the truth. They are not conducting businesses in good faith, but exploiting tenants while underperforming. To suggest that maintaining habitability threatens the business model only raises questions about the legitimacy of said business. In other words, hit dogs holler. The same year Richmond declared a housing crisis, the U.S. Government Accountability Office reported that every $100 median rent increase raises homelessness by 9%. The longer City Council neglects to address rent gouging, the costlier the housing crisis becomes. This is why we need the full set of solutions. Anti-rent gouging stops unfair rent hikes. Public housing investments guarantee affordability. Rental inspections ensure safe and quality homes. These tools not only complement new construction, they create a system where renters are protected and communities stay rooted. This anti-rent gouging is not the boogeyman that is going to harm the housing market. That is a myth. We don't have to choose between anti-rent gouging or boosting housing supply. That is a false dichotomy. For local governments, anti-rent gouging is a cost-effective, common sense, and community-led policy solution that stabilizes households and preserves affordable
You
housing.
have 30 seconds.
The city should not shy away from using every tool available to protect residents. We strongly urge City Council to prioritize anti-rent gouging in the 2026 legislative agenda. The circumstances could not be more critical. The window to act is now, and Richmonders demand their right to stay. Thank you for your time and consideration. I also have media release from our collective to be distributed for the council's review.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Rosemarie Castillo. Rosemarie Castillo. All right.
Welcome, Ms. Castillo.
Hola, buenas noches. Mi nombre es Rosemary Castillo. Soy miembro de la nueva mayoría de Virginia y vivo en el Distrito 9. Primero, quiero darle las gracias a ustedes, el Consejo de la Ciudad, por escucharnos en esta reunión. Y a todas las personas que están presentes en la sala. Ahora, yo vengo a presentar un tema sobre la vivienda digna y accesible. ¿Usted?
Good afternoon or good evening. My name is Rosemary Castillo. I'm a member of New Majority of Virginia. I live in the 9th district. First, I want to thank everyone, or most likely you all, the council member of the city of Richmond, for allowing me the moment to listen to me in this meeting. and to all the individuals that are present here today in the chambers. So now I want to talk to you about a subject that's important to me about a dignified living and accessibility.
Quiero compartir nuestras preocupaciones en la comunidad de inquilinos en Richmond.
I also want to share about a worriness that us who rent here in the city of Richmond.
Yo soy una madre soltera que me preocupa que mi hijo y yo nos podamos quedar sin techo.
And that I am a single mother, and I worry that my son and I will stay with no shelter.
En este momento yo estoy mal de salud y se me está haciendo difícil con mis gastos de medicamentos, renta y biles.
And at this moment, I'm not feeling well. And it's one of the things that is very impossible for me with sustaining livelihood, knowing that things are expensive and knowing that I have costs because of the household living, my medication, and rent.
Y esta situación no solo la estoy viviendo yo, la estamos viviendo miles de familias en nuestra comunidad.
In this situation, I'm not the only one that's going through it. It's thousands of individuals that are living in the communities that are going through this.
Estamos siendo muy impactados con el tema de incrementos de renta.
We're being impacted tremendously when it comes to the subject matter of increasing rent payments.
Por ejemplo, ahora en Southwood, yo vivo en Southwood,
Because like now, currently, I live in Southwood Apartments.
yo vivo en esta comunidad de Southwood Apartments desde el 2016 hasta la fecha.
To this date, I've been living in Southwood Apartment since 2016.
Desde esa fecha a mi apartamento no se le ha cambiado techo y no se le han hecho muchas reparaciones.
Since I've been living in Southwood, there hasn't been many changes such as repairs, such as, the ceiling or anything else when it comes to basic living requirements.
Yo empecé pagando $775 al mes
I started paying $775 a month.
y el año pasado pagaba $1,400 al mes.
And starting last month, now I'm paying $1,400 a month.
Last year.
Last month.
Este año que me tocó renovar, me subieron a $1,340, $300 más.
So this year, there has been a significant increase. They had actually incremented by $300 more in my rent.
Y aparte de eso, me cobran $125 si yo me retraso con mi renta.
On top of that, if I'm late with my rent, they charge me $125 additionally for being late.
Yo me retrasé con mi renta y ya me están llamando a corte.
I was late with my rental cost, and now they're calling me into court.
Cada vez que a mí me mandan un aviso de corte, que ya me van mandando 3, me suben $200 más de cargo por corte.
Every time that they call me into court, which has been 3 times now, they add an additional $200 into those fees on top of what I'm supposed to pay for every time they call me into court.
Mi salario no me alcanza para pagar tanto en renta.
My salary doesn't allow me to pay so much money when it comes to rent.
Y debido a eso he estado 2 veces a punto de ser desalojada.
And because of that, it has been almost 2 times that I've almost left without having a place to live.
El impacto de estos desalojos para nuestra familia son exagerados.
Comes to the impact of so many people such as myself with having a place to live, it's just very exaggerated at the terms of how they propose.
Es un trauma que mi hijo me pregunte
It's a trauma that my son to be asking me
si me va a alcanzar para la renta
if I'm gonna have enough money for the rent,
o si le puedo dar para sus juegos.
if I am allowed to give him some for Alice's games.
Mi apartamento, como les comenté, está en malas situaciones.
Like I mentioned, my apartment is under bad conditions.
Tenemos plagas,
We have a lot of plagues.
ratones,
We have-
cucarachas
We have cockroaches, we have mouses,
y moho.
and mold.
Yo le dejé saber a la manager sobre estos problemas,
I informed the manager about these issues,
pero ellos no solucionan nada.
but they haven't been able to provide any solutions.
Somos muchos los vecinos que estamos en la misma situación.
It's many of us, my neighbors and myself, that we're in the same situation.
Por eso es que estoy aquí en esta sala, porque no quiero que nadie más de mi comunidad sea arrancada de su hogar por el alto costo de la renta.
That's why I'm here today in front of you in this chambers, because I do not want anyone else in my community to be taken from their home just because of high cost in rent.
Me gustaría que viviéramos en unas situaciones humanas, no inhumanas como en el momento.
I would love for all of us to live in humane situations, not in the inhumane situation that conditions we're under,
Y que tengamos viviendas dignas y accesibles.
and that we have accessible living situations dignified for human beings.
Yo les pido a ustedes, por favor, que hagan prioridad la ley,
And I beg of you to please make the law a priority.
Anti-rent. ¿Cómo se dice?
Anti-rent gouging
En el paquete legislativo para este año 2026.
in the package that is been presented in the legislative process of this year 2026.
No podemos tener viviendas accesibles sin estabilidad de renta.
We won't be able to have accessible living conditions if this increment with rentals. Thank
Muchas
you.
gracias.
Thank you.
Gracias. If you would have the young lady see Miss Amy Popovich. She's right over there. You want to raise your hand, Amy, so she'll know to be able to come to you. Thank you.
The
Madam
next
Clerk.
speaker is Deanna Smith.
Welcome, Ms. Smith.
Hello. Hello, councilpersons and president. My name is Deanna Smith, and I represent Housing Opportunities Made Equal of Virginia, a statewide fair housing agency in the Commonwealth that advocates on behalf of all Virginians for equal access to housing. I am here to speak in strong support of the City Council, including in prioritizing anti-rent gouging in the 2026 legislative agenda. Home of Virginia recommends council adopting a multi-pronged approach to its housing crisis, such as anti-rent gouging, a rental inspection program, and a resident-informed redevelopment plan. Richmond remains one of the most renter cost-burdened cities in the country. Over a quarter of Richmond renters are spending more than half of their income on housing. Eviction filings are alarmingly high, and code violations persist due to insufficient city enforcement. Richmonders need to make $68,000 a year to afford typical monthly rent of about $1,513. That's 40% higher than you would have needed to earn 5 years ago. This is one of the largest increases recorded in the country. Yet the average individual Richmonder income is $46,400, nearly $20,000 less than what's needed to afford rent. There's no question there's a housing shortage, but increasing supply alone will not fix the crisis. Without protections and enforcement, adding new units risk accelerating gentrification and fueling slumlords and predatory practices, not providing stability. Broader external pressures further undermine housing insecurity and deepen inequities, leaving renters, particularly low-income households and communities of colors, to bear the cost. The problem is only getting worse as private equity landlords target Richmond, buying up single-family homes, apartment complexes, and manufactured housing communities, raising the rent by 25% or more, decreasing the quality of services, and displacing families for the sake of a higher profit margin. Renters are at a disadvantage while landlords hold all the leverage. City Council has a duty to act. Richmond cannot afford continued inaction. Accountability, equity, and enforcement must be at the center of Council's housing policies. Anything less will perpetuate displacement, deepen cost burdens, and fail the very residents our city is supposed to serve. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Omari Al-Qaddafi.
Good evening. My name is Omari Al-Qaddafi. I'm a senior community organizer in Legal Aid Justice Center's Housing and Consumer Justice Program. I've been an active member of Richmond's social justice community for going on 10 years now, and today I'm here to support the residents of Jackson Ward Public Housing, also known as Gilpin Court. Richmond's social justice community has mobilized against serious threats to housing stability in our city over the past 10 years, whether that be massive development schemes, proposed cuts to transit service in low-wealth communities, or mass evictions in public housing. Frequently through the years, when we appeal to city leaders, there would be voices saying, well, you guys just like to protest everything. They'd say, well, what is your plan? What has always been evident is that the people closest to the problems are closest to the solutions. Tonight, you will not hear protests. You will hear plans. You will hear 3 separate but connected pieces of resident-driven plans to ensure that there is stable housing for all Richmonders now and in the future. Tonight, you will hear from Kiara Harris of Gilpin Informed Residents, as she is supported by Legal Aid Justice Center and over 600 people, over 500 Richmonders, and 136 Gilpin Court residents who have signed this petition in support of the policy proposals presented in the Better Deal for Gilpin plan. It is a plan that ensures resident involvement is paramount, and it addresses concerns of public housing residents, advocates, and city leaders. As we canvassed the community for this petition, a common theme was the fear of retaliation. That is a common theme that you will hear across all 3 of these plans when speaking with residents. That's why residents need their government representatives like you all to take action on their behalf. These residents faced that fear and allowed their names to be included on this petition. I ask that you submit this petition into the public record to ensure that these resident voices are heard. Many portions of the Better Deal for Gilpin plan have already been endorsed by Mayor Danny Avula as he released a statement on September 11, 2025, supporting specific portions of this plan and calling for more resident inclusion and more public accountability for public housing redevelopment
You have
plans.
30 seconds.
The Better Deal for Gilpin plan proposes common sense measures that should be included in all Richmond public housing redevelopments. Your constituents support this plan, and I hope that you will too.
Thank you, Mr. Al-Qaddafi.
The next speaker is Michaela Carrington. The next speaker is Justin Kearney.
Good evening, council members. My name is Justin Cerny. I lived in the 2nd District, and I appreciate the time to speak with you for a few minutes this evening. The past 3 years, I've been battling a billing nightmare with Richmond's Public Department of Utilities. Despite repeated acknowledgments from DPU on multiple errors, I've been subjected to month after month of inaccurate bills. I've been labeled delinquent and threatened with late fees, all for charges I do not owe that persist today. Over the course of 2 years, between 2022 and 2024, when I lived in the 2nd District, my monthly bills fluctuated wildly, starting at $407 a month, climbing past $1,100 for a given month on 3 separate occasions, and ultimately leaving me with a disputed balance of over $1,000. This is only after $8,000 in acknowledged errors by DPU. They've made 7 separate adjustments to my account over the course of these 3 years, and yet I'm still being penalized for this. I have spent tens of hours on calls, emails, and research, trying every administrative avenue. Being here tonight is a culmination of much of my effort. Department of Public Utilities says they cannot forgive charges for services rendered despite them being in dispute. The city attorney says they cannot advise a private citizen and no longer responds. The city auditor says that the Department of Public Utilities sets the collection measures and cannot advise. This city council has received much of my communication, and it says that they do not have authority. The mayor's office has been wholly unresponsive. Every door I knock on is met with stonewalling and a lack of clarity. This has been harassment by process. The system itself punishes residents for the city's admitted incompetence. No citizen should be forced to endure years of uncertainty, financial stress, and emotional labor just because the city cannot get its own billing right. This is bigger than me.
You have 30 seconds.
If it can happen to me, it can happen to any Richmond resident. I've been told that this is occurring to hundreds of Richmond residents, actually, by this city council. The city utility should never have the power to bury its own customers under endless errors, fees, and bureaucracy. Council members, I urge you, use your oversight, use your platform, and your power to demand accountability and create protections. Richmond residents deserve billing that is fair, transparent, and accurate.
Thank you. That is your time.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Kiara Harris.
Welcome, Ms. Harris.
Thank you. Good evening, council members. My name is Kiara Harris. This is Sylvia Davis, represent Gilpin Forum residents. A group of Gilpin Court residents advocating for our rightful voice in redevelopment and the protection of our community rights. We champion policies that improve residents' quality of life and prevent displacement. We are here tonight for a better deal for Gilpin, a community-led solution to stop displacement. This council has consistently stated the need for anti-displacement and eviction prevention plans. Yet, despite repeated appeals from tenants, effective policy has not been delivered. Our communities, through initiatives like residential rental inspection programs and anti-rent gouging legislation, and our very own Better Deal for Gilpin proposal, has put forth protective, resident-led solutions that prioritize our people, not just profits. Our public housing redevelopment plan must include 3 core principles. First, share the wealth. This means ensuring that any redevelopment directly benefits Gilpin residents. We require dedicated support for workforce training, entrepreneurship, and meaningful investments in our community for vital resources like childcare, green spaces, and playgrounds. The economic gains must flow back to those who call Gilpin home now. Second, protect our democratic rights. We demand that residents hold genuine power and have a decisive voice in all redevelopment decisions. This entails direct resident representation on key boards, empowering our community to vote on plans that affect us, and establishing robust protections to guarantee our rights throughout this process. Third, stop displacement and gentrification, and fundamentally stop selling our homes to private hands. We demand that all residents can remain in Gilpin with guaranteed affordable housing, maintaining the current number of units. This requires a resident-driven relocation plan and a firm commitment to public majority ownership, preventing our homes from falling into private control. Council members, Richmond as the capital city must lead in tenant protections. With critical housing votes approaching, this is your opportunity to put in place proactive anti-displacement measures. Show that you are truly serious about protecting tenants in our
30
city.
seconds.
We urge you to support these essential principles for a better deal in Gilpin and for a better Richmond. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Emeka Anya.
Hello, Council, President Noel, Vice President Jordan, and the Council. My name is Emeka, and I am a 3rd District resident and a member of a New Virginia Majority. I am here today to share my story and why it is important that you all support anti-rent gouging legislation in your statewide priorities. Anti-rent gouging is important because there are people like me whose rent will get raised $200 a month, but the paycheck is not. The apartment that I live are considered some of the most affordable apartments that are not income-based. There are not many other options that are cheaper as these continue to get more unaffordable each year with excessive rent increases. As someone who is on disability and had their housing voucher taken away, not because of me, but because of maintenance of the building, and I refuse to move. It is important to have protections when government assistance fails to prevent displacement. Displacement is affecting mostly Black neighborhoods in Richmond. The poverty in my neighborhood is increasing because housing cost is increasing. We cannot get ahead and have no upward mobility without some intervention from city council to stop the excessive increase in rent. The same populations that are experiencing this cannot continue to afford rent and have to leave their apartment. We cannot afford to, when buying a house and there are a few apartments available that are cheaper. Most times, many people end up homeless and the entire family end up in
You have 30
shelter.
seconds.
Thank you for the council.
Thank you.
The last speaker is Cassie Knight.
Good evening. My name is Cassie Knight, and I'm a resident of Blackwell. I'm here as a friend tonight of a resident of Gilpin, Sylvia Davis, who spoke recently about being paid $20 to attend a RDC meeting, which turned out to be quite the scam offer. The CEO, Stephen Nesmith, called the hospital where her daughter was hospitalized and told the case manager to tell Sylvia to stand down. I have that video now that I would like to play.
You need to tell me to stand. You don't even know. You from the hospital and he's sitting here. What he got you? He asked me what And see, I exposed them, and I'm glad I did because what they was doing was wrong.
All right. I also have another video I'd like to play.
Damn. Yeah.
You have 30 seconds.
They're so corrupt and so crooked.
After that, Sylvia received a phone call to her personal cell phone number from Stephen Neesmith's personal cell phone number. That was area code 202-420-8284. That was a missed call that I also have.
Madam President, that is the speaker's time.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, I believe that concludes the public comment period speaker list. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, let's move on to, well, first I want to say thank you to all of those who came down this evening to share your comments, your concerns for this body's consideration. First, I want to do that. Thank you. Mr. Clerk, let's move on to review any amendments to tonight's agenda.
Madam President, the amendments to tonight's agenda are as follows. Item 4, Ordinance 2025-052 will be continued to the Tuesday, October 14th council meeting. Item 5, Ordinance 2025-079. Item 6, Ordinance 2025-081. And Item 7, Ordinance 2025-113 will all be amended later this evening and continue to the Tuesday, October 14th council meeting. Item 8, Ordinance 2025-148 has been withdrawn. Item 9, Ordinance 2025-150 will be continued to the Tuesday, October 14th council meeting. Item 35, Ordinance 2025-184. Item 36, Ordinance 2025-185. And Item 37, Ordinance 2025-186 will all be continued to the Tuesday, October 14th council meeting. Item 34, Ordinance 2025-161 will be continued to the Tuesday, October 14th council meeting. And item 40, Resolution 2025-R035 will be moved from the regular agenda to the consent agenda. Madam President, those are all the amendments to tonight's agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Is there a motion to accept the agenda as amended?
So moved.
Second.
Madam
Okay,
President, I believe
hold
Ms.
on.
Abu Bakr has her
Okay,
microphone lit.
Thank you, Madam Clerk, but what's happening here is I'm not able to see the names pop up. I'm not sure what's happening with my screen here. If someone could look at that. So I did not and cannot see any names pop up here. So Ms. Abubakar, I
That's quite all right.
apologize, but Madam Clerk, if you could have
Thank you,
someone
Madam
take a
Clerk,
look.
for the catch. I would like to make a motion to continue ordinances number 38 and 39, 2025-207 and 2025-208 to the October 14th meeting.
Second.
Second.
Council is now voting to continue item 38, Ordinance 2025-207, and item 39, 2025-208 to the October 14th council meeting. Mr. Breton?
Aye.
Ms. Gibson?
Yes.
Ms. Jones?
Yes.
Ms. Robertson?
No.
Ms. Lynch, Ms. Trammell,
Aye.
Ms. Abubakar,
Aye.
Vice President Jordan,
No.
President Newbill.
No.
Motion has been approved. Those papers have been continued and will be back before you on October 14th.
Thank you. Let's move on to the rest of the agenda.
I'll need a motion to amend the agenda as read. Ms. Abubakar, will you make that motion?
So moved.
Second.
Council is voting on the agenda amendments as presented. Mr. Breton,
Aye.
Ms. Gibson,
Yes.
Ms. Jones,
Aye.
Ms. Robertson,
Aye.
Ms. Trammell,
Aye.
Ms. Abubakar,
Aye.
Vice President Jordan,
No.
President Newbill.
Okay, let me just go back 1 second because we were trying to deal with the technology here so I could get the screen to work. And so, Mr. Clerk, you said exactly again.
Madam President, you all are now voting on the remaining agenda amendments. Ms. Abubakar's motion to continue the 2 tax rate papers was approved, so therefore they are continued until October 14th.
That's correct.
So at this point, Mr. Kessaker is calling the roll on the remaining agenda amendments.
Aye.
The motion has been approved. The amended agenda is now before you.
Madam President, the consent agenda consists of the following items. Item 1, ordinance 2025-025. 2, ordinance 2025-032. 3, ordinance 2025-046. 10, ordinance 2025-173. 11, ordinance 2025-187. 12, ordinance 2025-189. 13, ordinance 2025-192. 14, 2025-193, 15, 2025-194, 16, 2025-195, 17, 2025-196, 18, 2025-197, 19, 2025-198, 20, 2025-199, 21, 2025-200, 22, 2025-201, 23, 2025-202, 24, 2025-203, 25, 2025-204, 26, 2025-205, 27, 2025-206, 28, Resolution 2025 R036, 29, Resolution 2025 R038, 30, Resolution 2025 R038, 31, Resolution 2025 R039, 32, Resolution 2025 R040, and lastly, item 40, Resolution 2025 R035. Madam President, those are all of the consent agenda items.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. At this time, we will have a public hearing on the consent agenda items. Are there persons in the audience desirous of speaking in opposition to any of the items on the consent agenda? If you would come forward in opposition. Seeing none in the audience, Madam Clerk, do we have anyone on who've joined us virtually?
No, Madam President.
Thank you. Are there persons in the audience desirous of speaking in favor of any item on the consent agenda? If you would come forward.
Good evening, Council President, Vice Council President, 3rd District City Council Representative, Kenya Gibson, and members of the City Council and fellow Richmonders. My name is Keyshawn Hardy, a proud student, former student trustee, and student leader at Virginia Union University, an institution that has always sought to serve not only its students but also its city. Tonight, I stand in full support of the special use permit for the Gateway North Affordable Housing Development. This decision is bigger than construction. It's about people. Richmond's housing crisis affects students daily, and too often graduates leave because they can't afford to stay. Gateway North can change that. Dr. King reminded us the time is always right to do what is right. And John Lewis urged us to stand up and speak up whenever we see the chance to do what is just. And today, VUU is taking that chance. Virginia Union University is more than a campus. It is a symbol of resilience, founded on the grounds of Lufkin Jail, once known as the Devil's Half Anchor, and it rose from suffering to become a vision born of faith. And in 2025, we can no longer look like what we've been through. We must create opportunities for our students, our neighbors, and future generations. Council members approving this special use permit is not just a vote for VUU, it is a vote for Richmond's future. For the first time, VUU is investing in housing beyond our campus and serving both students and the Richmond community. And it shows who we are, committed to progress, partnership, and people. For the Bible says, eyes have not seen, ears have not heard, neither has it entered into the heart of man the great things that God has in store. And we are grateful that it is on the consent agenda and up for approval. And on behalf of my classmates in my university, I respectfully thank you in advance for approving the special use permit for Gateway North. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you.
Good evening, City Council President, Vice President, our 3rd District Representative Kenya Gibson, honorable members of City Council and City staff. My name is Janiyah Andrews, and I am a junior at Virginia Union University, majoring in health sciences with a minor in physics. Thank you in advance for your support and approval of Ordinance 2025-173, granting a special use permit for the Gateway North Affordable Housing Project. We are especially encouraged to see this ordinance including on tonight's consent agenda, which means if all goes as planned, it will be approved along with a block of other ordinances. This reflects the council's recognition of just how urgent this issue truly is. The entire country is facing a crisis of affordable housing, and Richmond is no different. According to the Housing Commission, our city is in need of approximately 10,000 units of housing for people earning 60% of the area median income and below. The Gateway North project has intentionally set aside the majority of its units for this exact demographic, directly addressing one of the greatest housing needs in our community. Nearly 3 years ago, the city of Richmond declared a housing crisis, committed $50 million over 5 years to help solve it. That was an important first step, but now it is critical to follow that declaration with supportive policies and approvals of projects like Gateway North projects that take this conversation beyond words into action. For me and many others at Virginia Union University, this issue is not abstract, it is personal. Students face housing instability just like other residents in Richmond. Many of my peers juggle full course loads, part-time jobs, and leadership responsibilities, all while struggling to secure affordable and safe places to live near campus. Some must live far away and commute, while others crowd into small apartments. These conditions not only affect their housing, it affects their academics, mental health, and overall stability. We're thankful it's on the consent agenda. That is why I thank you again in advance for your support of Ordinance 2025-173 by approving this special use permit and moving Gateway North forward. You are sending a clear message that Richmond is serious about addressing its housing crisis, not just in words, but in action. Thank you for your leadership and your yes.
Thank you.
Greetings, Madam Chair, the honorable members of the City Council, including our outstanding City Council Representative Kenya Gibson. Thank you for granting me the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Jasira Lamette. I am a senior criminal justice major, and I serve as the president for the NAACP at Virginia Union University. We want to thank you in advance for your approval of the special use permit for the Gateway North Affordable Housing Project. This project is not just about development, it is about investing in the stability, dignity, and future of this community. This project not only expands VUU's footprint, but it could potentially provide much needed affordable housing to our graduate students and soon to be VUU professionals. Our own students are waitlisted for on campus housing today. Richmond as a whole is facing a growing homelessness crisis, and too many of our neighbors are struggling to find a safe and stable place to call home. The city declared a housing crisis almost 3 years ago and planned an investment of $50 million over 5 years. So we kindly ask the city to follow that small token of acknowledgement with supportive policy and approvals of projects like this one. This project will offer another option for those needing housing but can't afford the extortionate rents we see throughout the city. Choosing to remain with our approval would give us a step forward to change that. Cities like Houston adopted a housing first strategy and expanded access to affordable housing. Their homelessness rates declined. By approving this permit is a necessary step in moving Richmond towards real solutions that address both the human and economic challenges created by homelessness. This approval is a step forward for equity, compassion, and long-term stability within our city. I strongly believe that your decision tonight can help us reduce homelessness and strengthen the fabric of our community. Thank you for your yes.
Thank you.
Good evening, City Council President, Vice President, our 3rd District Council Representative, Councilwoman Kenya Gibson, the honorable members of City Council and city staff. I am James Johnson III, a junior majoring in political science with a minor in theater. I have the honor to serve as Mr. Maroon and Steel for the 2025-2026 academic year at the illustrious Historically Black College, Virginia Union University. On behalf of Virginia Union University student leadership, I want to thank you for your approval of ordinance number 2025-173, which grants the special use permit for the Gateway North Affordable Housing Project. We are grateful that this ordinance is on the consent agenda, and we deeply appreciate your commitment to addressing Richmond housing crisis. For us as students at Virginia Union, the connection is deeply personal. Our university was founded in 1865, just after the Civil War, with the mission of providing newly freed men and women with access to education and opportunity. For more than 160 years, Virginia Union has been a cornerstone of leadership, empowerment, and service in Richmond. Today, our students continue that tradition. We are preparing the city's future educators, entrepreneurs, public servants, faith leaders, and professionals. But like many across Richmond, students and young graduates often struggle to find safe, affordable housing near where we learn, work, and serve. Projects like Gateway North help ensure that talented graduates can remain in Richmond, investing their skills and energy back into the community that shaped them. Scripture in Isaiah 32:18 reminds us, "My people will live in peaceful dwelling places, in secure homes, in undisturbed places of rest." That is more than a promise of shelter. It is a foundation for stability, dignity, and growth. Councilwoman Gibson has often called us to help build a city for all of us. Gateway North embodies that call. It honors Richmond's history, supports student strength, strengthens its workforce, and ensures that families of all backgrounds have a place to call home. On behalf of Virginia Union University student leadership, thank you for your support of this ordinance and for your continued leadership in helping build a city for all of us. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good evening, Madam President, City Council members, and citizens. My name is Cameron Cosby. I'm a current MSW student at Virginia Union University, and I'm also alumni. As a proud alumna of Virginia Union University, I'm in strong support of the Gateway North Affordable Housing Development, and I request the approval of the associated special use permit associated with Ordinance 2025-173. Approving this special use permit is more than a zoning consideration. It is a step toward meeting some of our community's pressing housing needs. As a social worker, I acknowledge that affordable housing is essential for building stability, health, and opportunity. It allows families to thrive, children to succeed in school, and neighborhoods to grow stronger. Madam President, I respectfully urge you and your colleagues on the City Council to approve this ordinance and its special use permit. Doing so will affirm Richmond's commitment to the Gateway North Affordable Housing Development and demonstrate support for VUU as it continues to serve as an anchor institution dedicated to equity, justice, and community advancement. Thank you for your leadership and dedication to the people of Richmond.
Thank you.
Madam President, Vice President, members of City Council, my name is Charles Willis. If Marta Jewell was staying here, he would say what's left of him anyway. So that's what's left of me. I've come to you to ask, matter of fact, to commend council, but I want to know, because I got in a little late, I'm concerned about speaking on item 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21. Are they still before council? That's the naming of the individuals. I just want to say thank you for putting it on the consent agenda. All of those names are well worthy of them from the north, south, east, and west, especially those that within the 8th District. Councilwoman, I really appreciate you. I'm pretty sure that Pastor Nicholson and the rest of them is going to enjoy that. And again, thank you so much for voting and putting it on the consent agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Willis. Madam Clerk. Okay, are there any other persons present in the audience desirous of speaking in favor of any item on the consent agenda? If you would now come forward.
Good evening, Madam President and council members and individuals in the chamber. My name is Adrienne Whitaker, and I am honored to serve as the chair of the Minority Business Enterprise and Emerging Small Business Advisory Board for the City of Richmond. I want to begin by thanking you for my appointment and the opportunity to serve in this capacity. I am speaking in support of Resolution 2025 R040 on the consent agenda. You have been presented with a disparity study of business access for businesses in the City of Richmond. Thank you for reviewing the study. As I mentioned, I am on the board, and our board members have carefully read the disparity study. We have reviewed all of the recommendations, and we stand in full support of these recommendations and urge council to take the important first step toward equity by approving the development of a clear plan to provide opportunity and access for all businesses in the City of Richmond. This action aligns with Mayor's strategic pillars. I am proud to say that that several other members of the advisory board are here today, and in the interest of time, instead of all of us coming up to address you, I ask that they each stand. I would like for you to acknowledge our request, and on behalf of the advisory board, we thank you for your time and your consideration.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Sanji Rollins Tucker. I'm the president and CEO of SRT Wealth Design Group. It's an investment management firm located in Richmond. And I am here to also support Resolution 2025 R040. I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak today in support of the disparity study bill. This measure is not only necessary, it is transformative. It has already shown real results for women-owned businesses here in Richmond and our neighboring counties, especially for me as well, to be able to do the things that I do for the community, for those who may be in low income, but also for wealthy individuals. I think that especially with women-owned businesses, we do take a really good need in making sure that we put money back into the community with everything we do. It also affords economic fairness. The disparity study revealed what many of us have known for years, that women and minority-owned businesses were not receiving fair shares. By addressing those gaps, we level the playing field and ensure public dollars are spent equitably. Second, local job creation. When women-owned businesses are given a seat at the table, they reinvest directly into the communities, hiring locally, mentoring the next generation, and helping families build wealth. The ripple effect strengthens Richmond's economy far beyond businesses themselves. And third, regional competitiveness. Surrounding counties that have acted on disparity study findings seeing growth in diverse entrepreneurship. And by doing the same, Richmond positions itself as a forward-thinking city that values inclusion, innovation, and opportunity for all. In closing, this bill is not only about contracts, it's about justice, growth, and the future of Richmond. I urge you to pass and fully implement the disparity study so that women-owned and minority businesses can continue to thrive and strengthen the fabric of this city. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Seeing no other persons desirous of speaking in favor, Madam Clerk, do we have any who have joined us virtually?
We do not.
Thank you. The public hearing is now closed. Bring it back to council for any discussion. Seeing none, Madam Clerk, if you would call Councilwoman Lynch.
I apologize. While I was gone, Councilmember Trammell brought it to my attention that there is a vote to continue the tax papers, and wanted just for that vote to go on record that yes, I vote to continue it. I don't know if that.
Madam Clerk, okay. Ms. Lynch, if you let us close this one out, we'll come right back to that with the clerk to figure out how to get that on the table. Okay?
I'm point of clarification, not asking for it to be on the table.
Oh, you just wanting to make the statement. I hear you. Okay. Thank you. Councilmember Robertson, and then Councilwoman Gibson.
There. Appreciate that. I want to thank everyone to come down. This has been a great evening to hear from the voices in our community. And Madam Chair, I would like to be added to the agenda item number 10, the affordable housing for North Gateway. If I could be added to that paper, appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilwoman Robson. Councilwoman Gibson.
Thank you, Madam President. I wanted to thank everyone for coming out, and especially the students from VUU. I think it's pretty awesome to for you all to be a part of this legislative process, which sometimes gets a little messy. But that's how we are able to get things done. I appreciate the work of folks that work for the university that are wanting to ensure that the design aligns with the neighborhood. And you know, there are many things on this consent agenda that I also wanted to highlight some enthusiasm for similar reasons, because these are all projects where they really came together through a lot of engagement from the community to shape the things that we actually ended up voting on today. That includes the VUU project, the Gateway Northside project. It includes the community unit plan, which is where there'll be the tennis courts. So there was lots of engagement with the community to ensure that neighbors had a say in how that came together. And last but not least, the Northside node, which is, I'm not sure which one that is now as I'm looking at this item, but that is at the intersection of Westbrook and and Hermitage, where residents did lots of research to find the language to ensure that there's more scrutiny given to this particular intersection. Anyone who's driving through the north side knows it's that little 5 points where it's kind of a cluster of. So this is definitely an important spot to make sure that we are being really intentional as we move forward with planning there. So I think it's a many things on this consent agenda are a win for voices, for community participation, for engagement. So thank you all for these items. I'm excited to vote.
Thank you, Councilwoman Gibson. Councilwoman Jones?
Thank you, Madam President, and I too echo the sentiments of my colleague, Ms. Gibson. Thank you to the students of VUU for coming out. Y'all represented. We hope this will not be your last time. And I just wanted to add my name to the paper in support of the Gateway Northway project. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Jones. Councilwoman Lynch?
I too want to add my name to the paper, to the VU.
Me too.
Councilwoman Trammell?
Yes, I'd like to add my name. Thank you.
Are there any members who would not like to have their name on the paper? Maybe we should do it that way. I think we all would like to join as patrons on that paper. Thank you. I would like to thank all of the thank everyone who came out to speak relative to the consent agenda items, but I want to especially thank the Virginia Union students. I'm looking at you, and we look forward to seeing you not just this evening, but ongoing as you are vigilant in terms of the legislation coming before our city and our community and making sure that we have opportunity to hear your voices. And so I want to say thank you to each and every one of you. With that, Madam Clerk, if you would call the question.
Council is voting on tonight's consent agenda. Mr. Breton?
Aye.
Ms. Gibson?
Yeah.
Ms. Jones?
Aye.
Ms. Robertson?
Aye.
Ms. Lynch?
Aye.
Ms. Trammell?
Aye.
Ms. Abubakar?
Aye.
Vice President Jordan?
Aye.
President Newbill?
Aye.
Those papers have been adopted.
Thank you. Okay, Madam Clerk, if we could proceed with the regular agenda.
The only regular agenda item for consideration this evening is item number 33, ordinance number 2025-100, and that's to amend city code to require publication of a side-by-side comparison with the mayor's proposed budget submission with agency-level budget request documents, and to require the submission of agency-level budget request documents. That paper is before council.
Would the patron like to speak before we proceed with the public hearing?
Sure.
For patrons.
Well, I mean, I think, this ordinance has gone through years worth of discussion, at least if council members would recall. The first time we talked about this was during a council mayor retreat about 3 years ago at Lewis Skinter Botanical Gardens when we did that retreat. And the conversation was really predicated on our ability to be good stewards for our constituents and our communities in getting things done through the budget. And that conversation really centered around the knowledge base, the transparency, and the intel that we have as council members and on any given year to make informed decisions and put amendments in that will actually go forward and be meaningful to the things that we all care about. For a very long time, I think we have all acknowledged that, when we get the budget, because of our form of government, strong mayor form of government, it's the only form of government in the Commonwealth like it. And when we get that budget, it is baked. And for better or for worse. That's not necessarily right, wrong, or indifferent. But as you all know, going through the process, no matter if we move the timeline, if we move the deck chairs on the Titanic, if you will, at the end of the day, when that budget comes before us, we are left with the same result, and that is we may have maybe $1 million between all 9 of us to meet, at least $30 million worth of requests that seem to come out of our council amendment process. And so, it does not strike me that process, or the process that we live through in our form of government, in a strong mayor form of government, is very, very similar to the process that they have established across the street, where the governor devises his budget, in the fall, hands it to the legislative body, the legislative branch is able to make amendments with the general fund. The only difference is that, and the key that gives them a great deal of power, is insight, intel, and knowledge well in advance of the budget coming to surface. And one of the tools that they have at their disposal, that they've had for 20 years, is the power to really look at what the executive branch agencies have submitted in requests from year after year. And like many of you who have seen the needs of our departments year after year, we can only guess at what those submissions, or hope that some of the requests that we have made or that the departments have made have been funded. But when that budget is handed to us, we really do not have a line of sight into all of the agency and departmental needs that have been submitted. Those decisions are made by the mayor, and it's his purview to do so. We're in a strong mayor form of government. And so all we're asking in this paper is to level the playing field so that we have an understanding of the true need of our departments, that if there are advocacy measures, or if departments or stakeholders or individual council members are desirous of seeing, a department, let's just say, for sake of example, the Department of Aging and Disabilities, we know that office is greatly understaffed, commensurate to the need, and that many of us have supported additional staff going into that office year after year. Wouldn't it be lovely to kind of see the historical trends and those needs being submitted to really get a true sense of what the department, the expert in his or her domain, what they think their departmental needs are. Now, if it's not worth going into the mayor's budget, just like the governor's office, they have to give a justification as to why, and defend it. All of us have to defend our decisions every day. All of us have to defend the budget that we vote on. And so I see this as no different in giving us even more reason to make a stronger case with our very precious resources as to why we funded one thing over the other. I don't think we should shy away from that conversation. In fact, I think we should lean into it. So with that, really this is, a measure to kind of increase the information that you have and that the public has when we are deliberating on our budget. And I think it's a very important conversation to have. So thank you. Thank you for letting us have the airspace to talk about it.
Thank you, Councilwoman Lynch. We will proceed with the public hearing, and we'll bring it back to council for discussion after that. So, are there persons present desirous of speaking in opposition to this paper? If you would come forward. Seeing none, are there persons present desirous of speaking in favor of the paper? If you would come forward. Seeing none, bring it. Okay, I thought you were coming as a speaker. Seeing none, the public hearing is now closed. Bring it back to council for discussion. Councilwoman Gibson.
Thank you, Madam President, and thank you, Councilwoman Lynch, for your leadership in bringing this forward. I am always excited to support something to bring more transparency to the work that we do. We had a good discussion, I think, about transparency as we've been discussing needs for moving forward with the property tax rate and also in our budget process overall. I think that's been an ongoing thread. And look, in order for us to really be able to do our due diligence in the budget process, I think having the understanding of the needs within each department is really critical in doing that. And I look forward to moving forward as we move forward with the budget in our next fiscal to be able to have more insight in terms of the needs of each department to help inform how we move forward and for the public to have access to that level of detail as well. Thank you.
Councilman Breton?
Yeah, I'm also excited to support this paper. I also believe we've done a number of things to improve the budget process this year. I do think that the budget work group had a lot of great changes that we're implementing this year, including the earlier start and all the additional engagement we're going to do in the first half of the budget so that we can ensure that the mayor's budget is more in line with all of our goals and we have more opportunities to have community engagement leading into that process. So I want to say I'm also excited for all those changes that we have as well. In addition to that, we will have the obligation to validate the decisions made in that budget and possibly have the opportunity to make amendments in that budget. And the information that we need to make those decisions is the type of information that this legislation is giving us. So I'm glad that we are increasing the level of collaboration on the first half of the process. And I'm also glad that we are getting more transparency and information so that we can have better accountability on the second half of the process.
Thank you. Councilwoman Robertson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I understand the significance of having a lot more information. There was a special task force that was appointed by the council to look at revisions of our process as it relates to putting together the budget for the year. This was one of other papers that we considered as a part of that review process. And after considerable conversation and discussions as it relates to having this side-by-side comparison as it relates to how the state does their budget and how the city does their budget are somewhat different in many ways. And out of the task force, I feel that the majority of the members from the administration, as well as council staff and council representatives, we weighed this very heavily and very strongly. We felt that transparency is good, but equally important, we felt that the administration needs to have the benefit of its work papers, which is what it gets from its departments as to their programs, their goals, the things that they want to achieve for the year, what the administration has set in conjunction with being responsive to the goals and responsibilities that council has identified. And what they ultimately do is use those department work papers to work more closely with their departments and make a collective decision for the entire budget. All of us on council knows that every year we put in additional amendments to the budget in double-digit millions of dollars. And by the time we go through months of deliberation, we may make a small adjustments of amendments once we've taken in the total costs of all of the services providing salaries for our departments, supporting our unions, supporting additional benefits, supporting retirements. And once we get that look, even us, after we receive the budget from the mayor, and we look at the total budget, and we look at amendments that we try to make to, in most cases, add something to the budget rather than take something away, and make those amendments to make those adjustments to the budget. And I feel very strongly that the recommendation that came from the task force that was established looked at the holistic process. And I feel that the administration in their process of having their departments look at those budgets and ultimately making a comprehensive budget decision for the entire city is still an excellent way for us to consider doing the budget. Not saying that this is not something that the city cannot consider doing. And surely if this paper is passed and we get this side by side, we will have that information. And I think this council needs to recognize the additional responsibility that we will have in the process as well of being accountable to, the department. Someone mentioned earlier to me, like we know there are certain departments that have asked for extra staff, may not have been successful in getting that. So we will have that ultimate responsibility of looking at that side to side and making those necessary amendments to the whole budget, and yet coming up with a balanced budget. And I would, considering the fact where we are with the new administration, new staff, a lot of challenges that they're taking on, I just think that this is not anything that the mayor hasn't demonstrated that his staff is ready to be in support of. And I think that it's something that perhaps we should consider, but I'm not sure that this is the year to do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Robertson. Councilwoman Trammell.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to have my name added to this because I think that the presentation that we got earlier today during an informal meeting should have had that. I think my paper or my colleagues that co-patron my paper to reduce the real estate tax from $1.20 to $1.16. I didn't have a presentation to give. And I think that I think if we had it side by side, we could realize what could be moved or what's more so in this portion than in that portion. So I've thought about it, and I think this is a good thing, and I would like to have my name added. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Trammell. Councilwoman Jurt, Vice
Yes.
President.
Thank you, President Newbell. One of the things that appealed to me about this paper was I do believe it helps give the fuller picture to our constituents of all the needs in all the departments and just how hard it is to try and balance the budget every year. And I think there are a lot of items and services that we would all love to see that we just can't afford. And I hope that extra level of transparency will actually underscore why keeping the tax rate 120 is necessary. So that's one of the reasons I'm supporting this. Thanks.
Thank you, Vice President. And I understand that Mr. Donald would like to provide comment. Is that correct?
Comments would be brief on this one. I think I would just say that,
observing and kind of getting an understanding of how the council would like to operate. I would also want to share and put on record that I do believe that both the piece for 120, which I think we're in opposition of, as well as this paper, which I would also oppose, is, to me, I feel as if it kind of takes, the council wants to improve operations fully, and I think you're aligned on that. But I think you take one of my hands and put it behind my back and make it more difficult to do that. And so with that, I think you have some opposition to that, but the will of the council is what always prevails. And so I always so voted up or voted down. And so how the council votes is how we would proceed. But I did want to be on record to let you know that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Donald. Councilmember Robertson, and/or Vice President Jordan, I just want to be clear that the task group's review of this and decision was not to move forward with it. Is that correct? That you believe that the work that you've done with administration bespoke how we should be working in terms of the budget process, et cetera. Is that correct?
That is
Just
correct.
clarification for me.
That is correct,
Okay.
Madam Chair. But I too recognize the fact that the final decision is the majority vote of the council, and I support the recommendation as it came out of the task force. Like I said, we spent a lot of time talking about it, and I appreciate what Ms. Jordan said as it relates to hopefully it will have that positive result that she's supporting, that the citizens will have even a broader picture of realizing not only the side by side that we get from each department, but the many requests that citizens come to this body and ask for every council meeting, and they're very valid. I mean, and they're real challenges and issues that we're dealing with in the city. And it's tough trying to make the right decisions to pay for, because we don't manufacture money here at the city. It's all about what the taxpayers are willing to pay, right? And I'll say sometime to my constituents, we're willing to do as much as the taxpayers are willing to pay. But we know that affordability, sustainability, comparative costs in the city of Richmond is important to the taxpayer, okay? And so when we have all of that information before us, and the citizens hopefully will weigh in on the weight of making hard decisions. I mean, I think we had, $30 million probably amendments that collectively that council put in this year for the budget to add into the budget, an additional $30 million. But in order to put that in, we have to cut the budget by that 30 million. It's got to be a balanced budget. So, this would be an extremely engaged citizens involvement and prioritizing of how we get to a balanced budget. And we look forward to the workout. It'll be interesting. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councilwoman Robertson. Before we call the question, I'd just like to thank the work group. You invested an enormous amount of time and really worked collaboratively with the administration. This is the first time that we have had this opportunity to come together to articulate a path forward in terms of the budget for this city. And so I just want to acknowledge and thank you and appreciate you for the efforts as well as your recommendation relative to this item. Madam Clerk, I believe that we are at the point of calling the question.
Council is now voting on ordinance number 2025-100 as presented. Mr. Breton?
Aye.
Ms. Gibson?
Yes.
Ms. Jones?
Aye.
Ms. Robertson?
No.
Ms. Lynch?
Aye.
Ms. Trammell?
Aye.
Ms. Abubakar?
Aye.
Vice President Jordan?
Aye.
And President Newbill?
No.
That paper has been adopted.
Thank you. Let's proceed. We have papers, I believe, to amend.
Yes, first before you is a motion to amend ordinance number 2025-079, which authorizes special use of 3801 and 3803 Hanover Avenue for the purpose of up to 2 single-family detached dwellings and 8 single-family attached dwellings upon certain terms and conditions. The proposed amendment would modify the number of dwellings, the plans, and certain terms and conditions. Councilmember Breton, will you make the motion to amend and continue ordinance number 2025-079 to the Tuesday, October 14th council meeting?
So moved.
Councilmember Robertson, will you second that, please?
Second.
Thank you. Council is now voting on the motion to amend and continue ordinance number 2025-079 to the October 14th council meeting as stated. Mr. Breton,
Aye.
Ms. Gibson,
Yes.
Ms. Jones, Ms. Robertson,
Aye.
Ms. Lynch,
Aye.
Ms. Trammell,
Aye.
Ms. Abubakar,
Aye.
Vice President Jordan, and President Newbill.
Aye.
That motion has been approved, and that paper as amended will be before you again on October 14th. Next before you is a motion to amend ordinance number 2025-081, which authorizes the special use of 2618 Rear West Main Street for the purpose of a multifamily dwelling containing up to 4 dwelling units upon certain terms and conditions. The proposed amendment would modify the number of dwelling units, the plans, and parking. Vice President Jordan, would you make the motion to amend and continue this ordinance to the Tuesday, October 14th council meeting?
So moved.
Councilmember Jones, will you second that motion?
Second.
Thank you. Council is now voting on the motion to amend and continue ordinance number 2025-081 to the October 14th council meeting as stated. Mr. Breton,
Aye.
Ms. Gibson,
Yes.
Ms. Jones,
Aye.
Ms. Robertson,
Aye.
Ms. Lynch,
Aye.
Ms. Trammell,
Aye.
Ms. Abubakar,
Aye.
Vice President Jordan, and President Newbill.
Aye.
That motion has been approved, and that paper as amended will be before you again on October 14th. Lastly, before you is a motion to amend ordinance number 2025-113, which authorizes the special use of 3200 2nd Avenue for the purpose of up to 1 single-family detached dwelling, 2 two-family detached dwellings, and 4 single-family attached dwellings upon certain terms and conditions. The proposed amendment would modify the number of dwellings and the plans. Councilmember Robertson, would you make the motion to amend and continue this ordinance to the Tuesday, October 14th council meeting? Thank you. Councilmember Abubakar, will you second that motion, please?
Second.
Thank you. Council is now voting on the motion to amend and continue ordinance number 2025-113 to the October 14th council meeting as stated. Mr. Breton,
Aye.
Ms. Gibson,
Yes.
Ms. Jones, Ms. Robertson, Ms. Lynch, Ms. Trammell, Ms. Abubakar,
Aye.
Vice President Jordan, and President Newbill.
Aye.
That motion has been approved, and that paper as amended will be before you again on October 14th.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's go. We'll do approval of minutes.
Madam President, the minutes to be approved are from the FY 2026 budget work sessions, the Monday, July 28th, 2025, informal and formal city council meeting at 4 p.m. and 6 p.m., the Monday, August 25th, 2025 special meeting at 12 p.m., Monday, September 8th, 2025, informal and formal city council meeting at 4 p.m. and 6 p.m. If there are no corrections or amendments, then the minutes will be approved as presented. Those minutes have been approved.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. We have papers for introduction.
Yes, members, the list of legislation for introduction this evening consists of items 4 through 15 and they've been provided to you, and the legislation on this list is hereby introduced as presented. A copy of the list is currently available for public inspection at the rear of the council chamber, and an electronic copy and copies of the listed legislation will be available on the city's website on Tuesday, September 23rd. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We'll proceed with reports and announcements at this time. Councilmember Abubakar.
Thank you, Councilmember. President Newbill. First and foremost, wanted to thank everybody who came out last week to our 4th District meeting with School Board Member Hedgepeth about all things RPS. I also want to give a special shout out to Principal Massa of Huguenot High School for hosting us and for providing some great updates on the wonderful things happening at Huguenot. Also wanted to say congrats for 2 major 4th District events that happened since our last meeting, the 43rd Street Festival, which entered its, I think it was 32nd year. And the first annual Renaissance Fair hosted by the city's best librarian, Westerville Hills librarian Danielle. It was great to see a lot of community members and families there dressed up, and I think everybody had a great time. I know my son loved watching the sword fighting. So that is it. I'm going to keep it short. I'm going to try to do that from now on.
Me too.
Don't forget about that.
I'm ready.
Councilmember Trammell.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you. We had our 8th District meeting at the Satellite on Thursday, September 11th. I want to thank our CAO who came to our meeting, Odie O'Donnell, gave a lot of good information to the citizens. And also, we had our Commonwealth Attorney, Colette McKeechum, attended. Also, Richie McKeithen. He gave us updates on the assessments, about how much they're going to go up in the next year or so. Next year, they're going to be frozen. There will not be a check. People are asking me, do they get another check? No, you do not get another check. You only got that one check. So we just got to see what happens in 2028. Also, our next council meeting is going to be October the 14th. So I want to make an announcement that our next 8th District meeting will be Thursday, October the 9th from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. at the Satellite. We got some great speakers coming that night. I don't have the list in front of me, but everyone is welcome to attend. Also, please put this on your calendar too. On Tuesday, October the 21st, we're going to have our great big senior day. It's going to be a big senior event. It's going to be at the T.B. Smith Community Center, our new community center. That it is beautiful over there. You've got to go over there and see it. And we're still working out some things, with the computers and the phones and some lighting, but it's, like I said, overall, it is beautiful. The community is so grateful that the children have a place to go. Again, that is going to be on Tuesday, October the 21st from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Ruffin Road. I forgot the address, I think 2105, but it's the T.B. Smith Community Center. This right here is your smoke alarm. It is free. If you go to the nearest fire station, you can ask those firefighters to come to your business, come to your home. They will check the smoke alarm. They will put it up free if you need one. It does not cost you 1 penny for a smoke alarm. Please make sure, because fall is coming. You got, what is it? Turn back an hour. Fall, you turn back an hour, and then spring, you go forward. So we ask everybody to please check your smoke alarms, change your batteries, and like I said, call the fire department, go there, or make an appointment, and they'll come to you. If you have any questions, you can call my home at 804-233-7382, 804-233-7382, or you can call my personal cell, 804-240-5050. Again, 804-240-5050. Thank you, Madam.
Councilwoman Lynch.
Oh, thank you. Want to say a huge shout out to our 5th District volunteers who came out to Randolph Community Center to pack senior bags on our mayor's day of service. We did 410 bags for our seniors in the South Side. So it was a great day of service, and also stopped by the Renaissance Fair, did a little sword fighting Sarah in the 4th District. It was super fun. Charlotte loved it. Tomorrow night, DPW will be hosting their RVA Builds Infrastructure Information Initiative event from 5 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. at Main Street Station. Oregon Hill Neighborhood Association is meeting tomorrow night at 7 p.m. in person at Pine Street Baptist Church. Bird Park Civic League will be hosting on Wednesday night at 6 p.m. at the Roundhouse. The Randolph Neighborhood Association will be meeting on Thursday, September 25th at 6:15 at Common Table Church. That's 901 South Harrison. The Stadium Civic Association is also meeting on Thursday at 7 p.m. at City Stadium. This Saturday, September 27th from 10 a.m. to noon, Friends of Forest Hill Park will be holding a day of service honoring the two amazing residents, David Ritterhoff, 5th, and Ann Shelton, 4th. Both were avid volunteers. God rest their souls. Both were avid volunteers and passionate about our environment. Unity Church will be hosting its Community Fall Fest this Saturday, September 27th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Blanton Field. And Richmond Pride will be taking place this Saturday, September 27th from noon to 8 p.m. at Midtown Green with my council colleague in the second, Councilmember Jordan. Council will be hosting a table again this year with our office rotating throughout the day. And please come say hey. DPW is hosting a whole street construction meeting next Tuesday. This is one we didn't have calendared last time, Reva. Tuesday, September 30th at 6 p.m. at the Richmond High School for the Arts. If you are a business driver or in the neighborhood off a whole street between Coward and Circle Plaza between the 5th and 8th, you'll want to attend this meeting. Friends of Bird Park will be meeting next Thursday, October 2nd at the Roundhouse, and Swansboro Civic Association is hosting their monthly litter cleanup next Saturday, October 4th at 10 a.m. behind Swansboro Elementary School. All right, and finally, National Night Out will be hosted on Tuesday, October 7th at 5:30 p.m. We started doing this in the 5th District. Several of our neighborhoods opted to do the later fall date, and that will be Norcroft Townhomes. We'll be hosting National Night Out on Tuesday, October 7th, starting at 4 p.m. along with several other neighborhood communities. So as always, you can reach out to my office by calling 804-646-5724 or emailing stephanie.lynch or amy.robbins@rva.com. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Lynch. Councilwoman Robertson? Okay. I'll start the Councilman Breton.
I want to encourage everyone to start voting. Early voting has begun, and the welfare of our city depends on a good state government. So please go make those decisions there. I want to let everyone know also that this Wednesday there will be a code refresh open house at the West End Library, 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. on Wednesday, hosted by the West Hampton Citizens Association. So you can have your questions answered there, and you can make comments there as well. Then this Friday, we'll be having our annual First District Social at the VMFA. We will have free Kona Ice for guests of all ages while supplies last. That will be 5:30 to 7:30 this Friday during the VMFA's Friday night event. And then I also want to just remind everyone that you can get a neighborhood code refresh session. It's still not too late. There's months and months left of discussion. So if you want to have a code refresh meeting in your neighborhood, email our office and we can set it up for you. Whitney.brown@rva.gov. Reminder that RVA 311 is the quickest and best way to report city service issues. And then, but you can also always call my office by calling 804-646-5935. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilmember Gibson.
Thank you, Madam President. So thank you, Director Preet Brill, for coming to our last 3rd District meeting. Our next one will be October 15th at 6 p.m. at Linwood Holton. We plan on having staff from the Planning Department and the Office of Sustainability joining us. The draft zoning map and regulations shared at the Code Refresh June open houses are available online in the interactive format for you to review and comment on. Comments that you leave on the map and documents are visible to the public. And if you have any issues with commenting, please reach out to richmond300@rva.gov. Please provide your comments by September 28th. You can find all the maps on the city website. And I wrote a piece which I shared on my social media regarding my perspective on rezoning efforts. The cliff notes are that I take the democratic processes that we have in place to approve our zoning exemptions really seriously. I support wholeheartedly historic preservation and want to ensure that if we are making decisions about affordable housing, that the outcomes will be affordable. So anyway, next up, the Department of Public Works is hosting a symposium and open house, RVA Builds an Infrastructure Information Initiative at the Main Street Station. That is at 1500 East Main Street on Tuesday, September 23rd from 5 to 8:30 p.m. The event is meant to educate the community and provide information on new and fully funded CIP projects happening across the city. And also lots of interest and discussion about GRTC in the 3rd District. They are hosting a series of in-person workshops to share updates and gather community input on the ongoing GRTC North-South Pulse Transit-Oriented Development Study. These workshops are an opportunity to learn more about the planning work underway, ask questions, and share ideas. Those workshop dates are Monday, October 6th from 6 to 8 at the Richmond Community Service Center at 4100 Hull Street. On Tuesday, October 7th at 6 to 8 at the Plan RVA Boardroom at 424 Hull Street, Suite 300. and Wednesday, October 8th from 6 to 8 at Main Street Station at 1500 East Main Street. Please make sure to sign up for our mailing list if you haven't already, which can be found on the rva.gov website. And if you have any questions or concerns, please reach out to me at kenya.gibson@rva.gov. And also you can reach out to our liaison, Sarandon, at sarandon.elliott@rva.gov, or call our office at 804-646-6055.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilwoman Jones?
I'm ready. Thank you. Thank you, Madam President. Want to thank Mr. Director Morris and his team, City Assessor Mr. McKeithen, and the Finance Department for coming to our meeting this past Thursday. I always want to thank RPD for showing up and giving great updates on what's going on in the community. We had folks on staff actually getting their bills looked at right then and there on the spot and helping them with some issues that they were having. So thank you for that. Thursday, October 9th at 6 p.m., 9th District Youth AI Workshop hosted by Victor Rogers will help youth to learn to use AI to solve day-to-day problems as well as start businesses. And then Thursday, October 16th at 6 p.m., our normal 9th District Town Hall will be our 9th District Youth Town Hall. We will have an evening of listening to the voices of our present and future and hearing what they want to see in Richmond. The Tuesday, September 30th from 4:30 to 6 p.m., there's a zine workshop and swap. Hear how zines have served as a form of education and resistance throughout history at the Boardwalk Library. Every Wednesday, beginning September 17th and through October 15th, they will have different films from a Spanish-speaking country each week to continue the celebration of Hispanic Heritage Month. At the Southside Community Center, football is ending and basketball will be starting. And so if you're interested in your young person playing sports, please reach out to the community center, as well as Southside Community Center is also offering homework help. You can reach out again to Southside to get the details. Every day from 11 to 5 p.m., one-on-one tech help with the library staff to help you accomplish your digital literacy goals. And I think I have one more. Ms. Gibson alluded to it, but the in-person workshop to gather community input on the GRT North-South Pulse TLD study will be happening October 6th at the Southside Community Services Building. That is at Southside Plaza, not Southside Community Center. Also at the library, Monday through Thursday, they also offer homework help and reading together from 3:30 to 5:30 p.m. And then every Thursday from 11 to 12:30, Shalom Farms Mobile Market has fresh and affordable locally grown vegetables. For more information, you can reach out to the Boardwalk Library and ask for Heather or any of the lovely librarians. You can reach my office at nicole.jones@rva.gov, by phone at 804-646-2779, or contact Taya West at taya.west@rva.gov. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Jones. Councilwoman Robertson.
Thank you, Madam President. So the first thing I want to put out there is that we are doing a bus tour. We're going to focus on the north side, primarily in the Highland Park community on this Saturday, September the 27th from 8 a.m. to 12. We will depart from Overby Shepherd Elementary School parking lot and tour several of the developments that are taking place. But more importantly, we will have the staff available to talk about the zoning refresh that the city is in the process of doing and speak to exactly what changes will be taking place in that neighborhood. Also, we would like to thank the administration for the legislation that's being introduced to move the million to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, as we discussed at the last meeting. We want to also celebrate St. Elizabeth and Catholic Charities for their affordable housing development that they're doing off of Falkland Lane in the community. We also plan to have another special meeting in regards to some SUPs that are coming up. This meeting will be scheduled once we've confirmed the date, but it will be before the October 14th next meeting where this paper will be coming back to council. We also would like to notify the residents that Underground Kitchen, which is a very strong partner of ours, providing healthy foods in the city of Richmond, but located on Oliver Hill Way at 1400, is having their Harvest Day festival September the 23rd from 3 o'clock to 7 o'clock. And so we are encouraging everyone to come out to that as well. Please contact Underground Kitchen for additional information. 3300 block of First Avenue, where Miss Ann Hardy Center is located. We are celebrating seniors on that day, which is Friday, from 10 to 1. The Hall Street Merchants Association is meeting this Tuesday from 6 o'clock to 7. I want to encourage everyone to support them. You can reach me at ellen.robertson@rva.gov, 804-314-7658. My council liaison, Kimberly Kaya, the office number is 646-7964. We look forward to serving you. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Robertson. Vice President Jordan.
Thank you so much. I'll start off with a reminder that our September 2nd District Community Meeting is this Wednesday night, 6 to 7:30, and we will be at the newly reopened Fox Elementary School. We'll be joined by our new CAO, or newish CAO, Donald, and Director Bobby Vincent, and our school board member, Katie Ricard. Also this week, Pride Fest at Midtown Green is Saturday from 12 to 8 p.m. Proud to be sponsoring that. And for other Pride events around RVA, you can go to Out RVA. Real estate assessments, you have until the end of the month to appeal your assessment for staff review. Reach out to our office if you have any questions. We are here to assist you. Early voting, I know this has been mentioned before, but it is so important to get out there and vote loud right now. Virginia is a bellwether state. We need to ring that bell as loudly as we can. You also don't want to leave this till the last minute. We've seen some errors with ballots. Things happen. Get in early, get your vote locked in, and should there be, anything that needs to be corrected, you have time. So please, 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 early voting now until October 20th at the registrar's office on Laburnum, from 8:30 to 5 o'clock. Super easy and fast, Monday through Friday, October 20th. There'll be more sites that open up. And then from then on, there'll additionally be some Saturday spots closer to the date. But for now, get out there and vote. If you need to register or update your registration, you need to do that before October 24th. So many of the things that we struggle to accomplish here at the local level is dictated by who is in these statewide elected offices and who is in our General Assembly. So please, I could talk about it all night, but I'm going to move on to code refresh. You still have time to weigh in on the first draft of the map and the districts until September 28th. We appreciate Planning Department extending that deadline. It had been September 10th. You can also review a recording of the joint code refresh meeting that I had with our 5th District colleagues. It's on our YouTube channels. Mine is Catherine JRBA. And the website Code Refresh, if you just Google it, will take you to a lot of really good resources. DPW CIP Symposium has been covered by one of my colleagues, so I will skip to the end here and remind everyone of my contact information. It's 804-646-6532, and by email, catherine.jordan@rva.gov. Please be sure to CC my liaison, Sven.Philipsen, that's 1L, PHILIPSEN @rva.gov. We're here to assist you. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Jordan. And I'll be brief. I won't repeat, but I will certainly encourage everyone to get out to vote. Early voting, as Vice President has indicated, is now. And we need to make sure that we hear your voices across the slate. Our next 7th District Community Meeting will be held this Thursday, September 25th at 6 p.m. at the VCU Health Hub, located at 1330 North 25th Street. In terms of speakers, we have our newish, as we're saying, CAO Odie Donald, who will join us, as well as updates from DPU, Public Safety, and our Commonwealth Attorney's Office. So again, this Thursday at 6 VCU Health Hub, please come out and join us. Our annual East End Festival is scheduled for this Saturday, 12 to 7 p.m., Chimborazo Park. And we invite you to join us. This is our 8th year. Over the last 8 years, I think we've raised about a little over $500,000 to purchase musical. And when I say we, it is a collective effort in terms of we partner with the symphony, with businesses in the community, with our faith leaders, with our schools, et cetera, who all have worked to raise resources to purchase musical instruments, art supplies, and materials for our children in the schools throughout the East End. And again, every year we partner with the symphony, and we have a group of young people who now have had access to instruments who will be performing, and we have our students who will have art displays. There'll be live music, vendors, kids play area, food trucks. In addition to the symphony and our young people who will be performing, we will have local talent like James Saxmo Gates, Corey L., Dennis Dapp, Mallory Band, Lenny Holmes, etc. So please come out and join us this Saturday, 12 to 7 p.m., Chimborazo Park, 3201 East Broad Street. Look forward to seeing you there. For more information, feel free to contact me. My cell number is 804-543-7837, or you can contact my liaison, Sam Patterson, 804-241-7544. With that, we thank everyone again who have come down to share comments, concerns, recommendations, thoughts, etc. And this meeting now stands adjourned. Thank you.